everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is a video that I'm going to go over for my July wrap-up. I'm just going to kind of go through each book that I've read and tell you what I rated it and what brief thoughts I had on it. I'm not going to give any spoilers, or at least as best I can. Obviously, you know, if there's a spoiler, I'll try to tell you like, hey, maybe skip this part, but I don't plan on doing any spoilers. This is my first wrap up on my channel, so I usually post on my Instagram. I know I tell you this every time, but I usually post my Instagram kind of my wrap up, like all the books that I read for this month, but I don't always put the ratings because my ratings, I mean, you can see them on Goodreads, or I have Storygraph also, and you can also, I will post my reviews usually to my Instagram, so that's kind of where you'll get my reviews. But for YouTube, I'm gonna go ahead and go through each one and give you my my ratings and my kind of brief thoughts. So I started July off with an arc, and it's called Let Me Love You Anyway by Jordan Barnes, and it follows two characters named Lexi and James, who live in California, in Hollywood, LA area. And Lexi is a graphic designer, and James is just like a photographer slash artist. He also paints, not just his photography. So they're both very artistic, and it's just about their story and falling in love, and them like kind of going through their life and their hardships. It's a romance, and I give it 4 stars. I give it 4 stars just because I've been trying to be a little bit more picky on my 5 stars. 4 stars to me still means that I really enjoyed it. I really liked the story, but maybe it's not one that I will, or it's not one that really like blew my mind, or became like my whole new obsession, basically. Like in June, I think it was, I read the Book of Azrael, and I fell in love with that series, and it really became like my whole new personality. And so like that one, for instance, is a 5 stars to me, but this one was 4 stars because it was still really good. Actually, I'm sorry, I gave it 4.5 stars. So 4.5 stars for Let Me Love You Anyway. And you know, I just loved their love. I felt the love through the pages. I felt what they were feeling, because I'm very much an emotional reader too. So if I connect with it emotionally, I'm gonna give it a higher rating. And that's just how I felt with this one. You know, it was truly just such a good story, and I think Jordan did a really good job at writing their characters and making them very distinct and unique, as well as the supporting characters making them unique, because sometimes, you know, it can come, I've read books before where that's not really the case. Like the characters are all kind of similar in, you know, who they are and how they act, but I really felt like they were their own people, and that, you know, they were my friends and I wanted the best for them. So yeah, 4.5 stars for Let Me Love You Anyway by Jordan Barnes. My next book, well, the next books are part of a series, which I started in June and I've continued in July, and I still have a few more books in the series to read through, but I'll just kind of show you the ones I've read in July for this series all together, because I think that'll be easier than going one by one. I will give you the ratings for each one individually, and just kind of like the overview of what each one is about, but I'm going to give you, but I will just tell you. So it's the Addicted Calloway Sisters series. So I read all of these ones in July. And so if you don't know anything about the series, it follows a group of 3 sisters, and it follows them through their life, just in general. The first book is called Addicted to You. Is that what I think that's what it's called. And it follows Lily and Lo, and they are addicts. Lo is a alcoholic and Lily is a sex addict, and so basically it's just about their struggles going through their addiction. And in the beginning of the series, it kind of follows them as they're enabling each other, and eventually, I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not really going to tell you how their journey goes, but in the beginning, they are basically fake dating and best friends, and they help each other hide their addictions from their families. And so, yeah, theirs kind of just follows their story of the ones I read this month. These 3 follow them. So we have Addicted for Now, Thrive, and Addicted After All. For Addicted for Now, I gave this one 3 stars. I'm not gonna lie, Lily and Lo's story is a little harder for me to kind of read through, and it's just because it's harder for me to relate to them because I don't have an addiction, and so it's harder to get into those mindsets. However, their love is just so beautiful and so almost like just pure, like they just love each other as people, not just like romantically or anything like that. But Addicted for Now, I gave 3 stars because I felt like it was a little slow. It wasn't really keeping my interest that much. It took me quite a while to finish it. I think I started it in May, at the end of May, and it took me until early July to finish it, and it's because I would put it down, read something else, and then come back to it. So 3 stars for Addicted for Now. Then we have Thrive. I guess this is a good way to kind of come into it. So after Addicted for Now, you're supposed to read Kiss the Sky and Hot House Flower. So Kiss the Sky follows Connor and Rose, and Rose is Lily's sister, and Connor is just friends with Lily and Lo. But they knew each other when they were much younger, like teenagers, and it's just about they actually get together in Lily and Lo's story. You kind of see that, but then this actually follows their lives after finding out about anything. And just, it follows their story. I think what happens, it's like, what I remember from this one is that they had like a reality TV show for their lives, because that's another thing about this series. Like, all of them come from super wealthy families who run really big corporations in this world. And so they're in the limelight. Like, people know who they are, people follow them and want to know about their life, like any other celebrity. And so in this one, they have a reality TV show that follows their lives, and all the sisters and all the boys are in it as well. But this one specifically follows Connor and Rose. And I gave this one 5 stars because honestly, Connor and Rose are just perfect to me. Obviously they have flaws, right? But to me, I really fell in love with their story. I really fell in love with them as people. Connor, just, even though he may come off as kind of not very, what's the right word? Like empathetic. I feel like the way he handles situations is just something that I really would appreciate in like my own life if I was going through these things. And so I just, and he's just, once you get in his head, like the things he thinks, it's just, I don't know. I just fell in love with him. And Rose, like, I feel like I relate really heavily with Rose and the way that she lives her life. Like, I feel like I see a lot of similarities between me and Rose. And so that's why this one's 5 stars, and I really, really enjoyed it. The other one, Hot House Flower, follows the other sister, Daisy. And It follows Daisy and Reich, and it's an age gap, and he is like a professional rock climber, and he runs a lot. But how old is he? He's 25, I think. I think she's 25, or he's 25, and then when she turns 18 or something like that. He did know her when she was a teenager. However, nothing happens until she's of age. And Daisy is a model, and she goes around and models. She's a high fashion model, so she does all like the fashion weeks and everything. And so this just follows their story, and it takes place after the reality TV show. And there are some traumas that happen during the other books to Daisy that she has to then deal with through this, and Reich kind of helps her through that and is really like the rock to which her and like a lot of other people rely on. And so this one I gave this one 4 stars. Yeah, 4 stars, because I really did enjoy their story. I really felt like they were very entertaining, because Daisy's kind of wild and out there, and she kind of just, does what she wants, says what she wants. And same with Reich. Reich kind of just does the same thing. And so it makes for a very entertaining story. And so I couldn't really put it down. I think I read this one. I'm pretty sure this is the one I read in one day. So 4 stars. The only reason it's not 5 stars is because I didn't want to give, like, compared to Kiss the Sky, for instance, like I felt like I loved Kiss the Sky more. And so 4 stars for this one. Now back to Thrive, which is how I got on this started talking about the other 2 books. For Thrive, where's Kiss the Sky? Here it is. Okay. For Thrive, Thrive takes place during the same time as these 2. So these ones, obviously, this is from Rose and Connor's point of view, and then this is from Daisy and Reich's point of view. And this is those same events that happen in these 2 books from Lily and Lo's perspective. And so, obviously, like, with reading this one, you kind of already know what's going to happen, because if you've read them in the order, right, you're supposed to, you already know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen at the end. You kind of know little tidbits of what happens with them, because they still show up in the other series or in the other books. But you don't see it from their point of view. You don't see how they think of everything, and like their thoughts throughout everything, especially like the reality TV show, because obviously they're 2 addicts and they're on a reality TV show. Like, there's gonna be thoughts that they have. I gave this one 4 stars, just because I actually really loved the reality TV show. Again, going back to like Rose and Connor's book, like I really loved that plot line. And so it was really nice to see it from this perspective. Not to mention, like, at this point in Lily and Lo's story, like, I feel like seeing them from Rose, Connor, Daisy, and Reich's point of view really made me fall in love with them more than I was before I read it from their point, like, since before I read those ones. And so Thrive was 4 stars for me, just because I loved seeing their thoughts as they went through this. And so it made it much easier read for me. I think I finished this one like in 2 days or something like that. So yeah, 4 stars for that one. Then the next book in that series is Addicted After All. This was the last one I read in July. And there's still 3 more books, I believe, after this one. But this one follows Lily and Lo again. And it's the ending to their story, pretty much, before like the epilogue novel at the end. But it just follows them throughout their life after the reality show, after everything. There's kind of something that's really big that happens in Kiss the Sky, House, Flower, and Thrive, where they end up. at the end, there's something really big that happens that kind of changes their life a little bit. So you kind of have to see that through their perspective throughout this book, and to see how they handle that, and like just everything, handle the family, handle all of the things throughout their life. Because this series really is just following these people through their life. Like there's not really much more to their plot lines, to their stories. It's just their story. They're living, and you're reading about their life. It's like reading a reality TV show, in my opinion. Kind of reminds me of like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. But I gave this one 4 stars. So it's kind of the theme with a lot of these for the Addicted series, because like some of the beginning ones were more like 3 stars, because I just, like I said, I wasn't as into Lily and Lo and their story as much before I read them from the Kiss the Sky and Hot House Flower perspective. But this one, I think, was a really good conclusion to their story. And I really love where they ended up and how they ended up and what mindset they ended up in. And so I'm very excited to see where the epilogue novel takes them, and how they continue to grow through the eyes of the next 2 books, which are from Rose and Daisy's stories. So, yeah, that's 4 stars for those ones. So that I kind of read throughout July, kind of intermixed with the different books that I'm going to be going over of what I did read. So the next book I'll talk about that I did read in July is called Antidote, and it's by Shea Ruby, and I'll put a picture here of the cover. It was an ARC copy as well, and it follows stepbrothers, Hunter and, oh gosh, what was his name again? Hunter and Oliver. Sorry, I got confused because they go by Hunt and Ollie in the books a lot of the times. But it follows 2 stepbrothers, Hunter and Ollie. They become stepbrothers when they're much younger, but then they kind of grow together, but not in a way that stepbrothers would. Like, they don't really act brotherly as they grow up, which is why I was kind of okay with it. But it is a romance, and it's just between their story of how they grow together. It kind of goes in the past and then in the future, and I believe it's already out. Yeah, it's already out. So yeah, if you want to read it, I think it's on Kindle Unlimited. I gave it 5 stars because this one kind of tore me up, I'm not gonna lie, like emotionally, just because I just could feel all the emotions. And like Shea Ruby does a really good job at making you hurt without it being like a hurtful story, if that makes sense. Like, it's not a sad story, but there's parts in it that make you really hurt, and like you can feel the hurt that the character is feeling. Like the way that she writes, just that I could feel all their feelings. I could feel when they were sad, when they were upset, when they were happy, when they were in love. I could feel it all. And so it just follows their story. And yeah, again, Ollie was an addict. And so as a result of that, he ended up overdosing one time. And this is all like on the back and in the beginning, right in the beginning. But basically, his stepmom and Hunter's mom is going to take him to the hospital, but it's raining and they get in a car accident and she dies. So there's like kind of resentment there between Hunt and Ollie, because Hunt kind of blames Ollie for what happened to his mom. And so, that causes a lot of tension, and you kind of can feel that as they go through their story. But Hunt is a hockey player and Ollie is an artist. And so that's kind of who they are. And you see them go through their life, and you see how they resolve, their issues. So yeah, 5 stars for Antidote. That was an ARC that I received. My next one is also another ARC that I received, but it is out now, and I have the physical copy actually. So it's The Pucking Coach's Daughter by S. Massery. And this is a Why Choose Hockey bully romance. And so it follows Sydney as she goes through. They're all in college. So it's Sydney is the girl, and then we have Carter, we have Penn, we have Oliver. I think it's just the three of them. Let me make sure. Sorry, I get a little confused with Why Choose this because like there's just so many things going on. But yeah, so it's the four of them. So Oliver, Carter, Penn, and Sydney. And so what it is her dad is the coach of one of the teams. There's two teams. One of the teams she's coach of, her dad is the coach, and that he coaches Carter and Oliver. Oliver is or not Carter. I'm sorry. He actually coaches Oliver and Penn. That's right. And Penn is the goalie. Oliver is forward. I don't know. He's the captain of the team though. And so it's just about them. So what it is she steals something from she steals something from Oliver. Yep. She steals something from Oliver, and it causes a whole big thing where what she sees, she goes in there to steal something from him, but then ends up with the playbook that is from their team, and she shares it with Carter, who's on the opposing, like the rival team, and he spreads it to his team. And so they're going through the finals for they were set to like, play a final championship game between them. And because she stole the playbook and gave it to Carter spreads it around. And so then they know all the plays for the opposite team, and it causes her dad's team to lose. And so they end up finding out that she's the one that leaked the playbook. And so she gets expelled from the other school and has to go to the same. And so as a last resort, she ends up at the same school that her dad coaches at. And so, but Carter doesn't let her go because they were dating, they were exes, and he just won't let her go. So he still follows her to this new school, even though he's playing for the other school. They are right next to each other, and so he just comes back and forth, and he just keeps an eye on her. But because of this whole playbook thing, everybody's super into hockey, and so this new school does not like her, and that's where the bully comes in. And so obviously Oliver and Penn kind of want to make her pay because she made them lose the championship. So it just follows their story. If you've ever read any of S. Massery's books, you will know that they're super dark, and you definitely have to check your trigger warnings. If you've read the Hockey Gods series, I think you'll enjoy this one. I love anything hockey, really. And then I also do love dark romances. I don't always read them, but I do love them. I would say they're probably one of my big genres, dark romances. So love it. Love that this is also hockey and dark romance and just mixes the two together. I can't remember if I told you the star rating for this one, but it was 4.5 stars because I flew through it. I'm actually not usually a Why Choose person. I don't typically seek Why Chooses out. However, I think this one was done really well. I love S. Massery's writing. As soon as I received this arc, I basically started it right away. I think I was almost done with one of my books, and so I just quickly finished it so I can start reading this one because I just love her writing, and I think she does just such a good job. And I was just so excited to get this arc, which is why I now have the physical copy, because even though I read it on my Kindle as an arc, I had to have the physical copy as well. So yeah, so if you like S. Massery, if you like hockey, if you like dark romance, this could be for you. All right, so the next one that I read is actually from my Magical Readathon. It is Beach Read, which I believe in my Magical Readathon was the standalone. I just felt like reading something really cute and fluffy and giving me summer vibes. And so I picked up Beach Read, and I think I read it in like a day and a half. I don't know where I even found the time to read this, to be honest, because at the time I was super busy. But I gave it 5 stars. It's my favorite Emily Henry book so far. It follows Augustus and January. That's their names. So Gus and January, and it's just they're both writers. She writes romance, and he writes just like contemporary fiction, I think. I don't even know if it's contemporary fiction. He just writes like fiction, like nothing like there's not usually romance. Like I think his book in this one is like about a cult. So it's like, if you like that kind of stuff. But they basically make a bet to write each other's genres. So she has to read or write like just a normal fiction book that has no romance and doesn't have a happily ever ending, and he has to read or write a romance that ends up with a happy ever after ending. And so they're neighbors, they fall in love. If you know Emily Henry, you know kind of the deal. I feel like a lot of her books are very similar, but this one is I don't know, I just feel like it was better written than her other series, and I just really really enjoyed it, and I want to I don't know, continue reading her, I guess. I need to read, I think, still Happy Place and Funny Story. I've heard Funny Story is actually really good. We'll see if it tops Beach Read, but for now, Beach Read's my favorite. I've read People We Meet on Vacation, and I've read, what's the other one? People We Meet on Vacation and Book Lovers. That's the name of it. So I've read both of those already. I feel like she uses a lot of people who write books in her, like that's what the main characters do a lot of the times in her books. But this one was a different take on it, and I really enjoyed it. So that's this one. The next one that I read was another arc. It's called Shadows of the Crown by Dakota Monroe, and I actually just finished this one over the weekend. I'm filming this, what day is it? I don't even know what day it is. The 29th of July. So I finished it over the weekend. It was an arc, and it comes out on August 8th. But it is a romance fantasy that follows a prince named Caspian and an assassin named Ariella, I think is how you say her name, or Ariella, something like that. But basically it follows her, and the king sets up this game that has 3 different challenges for all the assassins within his like kingdom, basically, and they have to go and compete in this. And so there's these different assassin guilds, and the guild that she's part of, like each one has to send 3, and she volunteers to go because her dad was killed by the king, and so her whole mission is to try to get revenge for her dad and kill the king. But when she gets there, she meets Prince Caspian, and so, I mean, I told you already it's a romance fantasy, so obviously it's about them coming close together and her plans evolving as she goes through these games and depending on what's going on during the games. And so during the games, all the assassins stay at the castle, so she has that like close proximity to the prince. And so it just follows her story along, going through these games. It kind of reminded me a lot of like Hunger Games meets like Throne of Glass kind of feel, because I think there was a competition in drama class as well, but that was like in the very beginning. So yeah, I don't know, but that's kind of the vibe I got, is that those two, if those two had a baby, it'd be this. And so, especially because there's a one of the princess guards also like remind me a lot of like Kale. I don't even know if that's how you say his name. I always say Kale, like the vegetable, but yeah. So I gave that one 4 stars. I gave it 4 stars because I felt like it. You know, the reason why it's not a 5-star, because I actually really did enjoy it. I finished it fairly quickly. I really thought that I like the world and the story itself was very, you know, I just felt like it was really good, and she has like such a good premise for where I think this story will go, because it's a series, so this is just the first book. But I didn't give it 5 stars because I didn't really feel, which again, this is only the first book, so I'm not saying that it won't be, my issues with the book won't be fleshed out in time, but just based on this first book, I didn't feel really the love between the two characters. It felt more like lust and not love to me. And so that is kind of why I didn't think it was worthy of a 5-star per se. But I think where they ended up in the end lays such a good foundation for them to grow into that love as the story keeps going. And so that's why I say, you know, just based on the first book, that's what I got, but I think it'll be fleshed out. Same with like the magic system. Magic system is a little confusing at times. Like, I don't know. I don't usually question magic systems too much, just because I just take it as it's magic. It's going to be what it is. And so, you know, I don't even question how it works, really. I just, as long as I understand it, which I do understand what she's doing when she says what she's doing, but I just, I think it could be explained a little better. So maybe, but I don't think she truly understands either as a character. So I'm hoping that as she learns and grows in the coming books, like it'll be easier to understand and better to understand. So these are the books that I read in July, as well as some other ones on my Kindle. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these and what you thought of them. If you're reading any of the series that I'm currently in the middle of and want to talk to me about them, my DMs are always open on Instagram. I'm very open to talking to anybody about books. If you want to discuss them, I'm there. And, you know, I love seeing other people's perspectives. So definitely leave comments below for me, and I will read through them. Let me know what else, as usual, like anything you'd want to see in the future. I'm open to pretty much anything. I don't really know what my next video will be, but I wanted to give you a wrap up for July. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy any of my content, or if you enjoy my videos, or if you just want to talk books, or if you want a new book friend. I'm here. Follow me on Instagram. I'm very active over there, and I try to post, if not once a day, at least multiple times a week. But yeah, just let me know. Thank you.